Okay, it's counting down. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm PIRET, and welcome to Happiness. I am happiness expert, and today we're talking about how happiness and sobriety is related. And my guest is Dane Walters. And hi, we're gonna talk about how to live a happy and sober life, which I personally think is very much connected. And Dane is a professional in that. He's been living sober, active, happy life for 15 years now. So, Dane, do you want to start talking a little bit about yourself?
I would love to. I would love to. I love that you say that. Yeah, happiness and sobriety go together for me. I used to think I was happy when I was drinking, but I definitely was not. And it's just great. It's a great topic. It's a great thing to highlight because sometimes I think we can just kind of just kind of go through life and not really check where we're at or if we are truly happy or living our best authentic life. And so I think it's a great topic. I'm glad you
Mhm.
invited me on to talk about it.
Yeah. So I start everybody with the same question because like how everybody's personal point of view, like what is happiness?
Great question. Great question. I think it's different for everybody, but for me, happiness is living my best authentic life, living my life the way, doing the things that get me excited, help me give back. That's where I truly live in happiness. I think that oftentimes I can do things because I think I'm supposed to, but they don't necessarily serve me. And I can find myself being unhappy. And then when I really look at what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Is it serving me? Is it authentic to what I really want to be doing? And if I answer yes, I'm happy. If I answer no, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So for many, many years, I worked in jobs where I wasn't really doing what I felt like I should be doing or what, I wasn't necessarily doing what I was meant to do. And so I think for me, happiness is being authentic to myself and, the ideas that I believe. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a constant struggle, right? Because we have to do a bunch of things that we don't always want to do or things that are in front of us at any given time. So how do you navigate through that kind of stuff is been what we've been teaching over the years, how to stay happy when things aren't maybe right where you want them.
Yeah, exactly. And
Mhm.
people like I'm trying to get people away from thinking that they have to be happy all the time. Like you can be in a happy state of mind, but you still have like feelings of like sadness when something happens or anger. But yeah, like how do you? And that's part of like sobriety. How do you deal with those other feelings by staying sober? And even happiness, like so many people kind of like think that happiness needs to be celebrated with getting drunk as well, and which is actually not true at all. Was
True,
actually
true.
people drink for celebration, which they can actually celebrate without drinking.
So true. I remember I remember drinking when I was happy, when I was sad, all the moods, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny because I did think that I was truly happy when I was getting, blackout drunk. And it wasn't until I got away that I actually knew that wasn't true happiness for me. But everybody's gotta learn through their experiences. And that's part of why we share our story is to share our experience, strength, and hope so others can find happiness and live in their best life. But yeah, great point. There's been many times in my life where I maybe didn't like a job that I had. Maybe it was a physical job and I didn't like that I had to be doing that. But I actually can remember a specific time when I was newly sober and I got a job which was it's fixing like AC, heating and air units and so forth. And I hated doing it. And a guy helped me realize, he's like, look, when you leave work, you go to the gym and you work out. But he's like, you're getting paid to work out every day.
Mm-hmm.
Lift this heavy stuff and be out in the sun and the elements. And when I reshaped it like that, I was like, that is kind of crazy. I am being paid to get strong and things like that. So a lot of it is how I set my mindset is where is that at, and that really plays a huge part in my happiness day to day.
Yeah. Like now, when you're saying that story, it's like he changed your point of view.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
you were always thinking it the one way, but then he's like, well, why should you look at this side of it? And that's what with the life as well. Like, especially with sober life afterwards, you just have to like think about positive, what's positive about it.
Exactly. Yeah,
And I,
so many people too, they'll get sober, but they call them what's called a dry drunk, where you're like you're sober but you're miserable,
yeah,
right?
you're not doing anything.
Yeah, you're not much better off. So the idea is to drop the drink, yes, or get sober, but then find things to look forward to. And that's something that you can really I found that I could really struggle with early on in sobriety is one, being sober, and then two, being happy at the same time. It was like a science, or it was an art form, because it was a juggle, because everything I looked forward to, I kind of lost when I lost that relationship, or when I stopped partaking in drinking. It was important that I had things in my life, because I would get miserable otherwise, because I didn't have the alcohol anymore, which I would learn was part of the problem. But having things to look forward to, having good relationships, having some kind of physical fitness regiment, to get those chemicals going through your body and changing that physiology through movement, things like that I had to do to continue to be happy, that I still do today.
Mhm.
Take action.
So, what is the first point? Like when somebody wants to start getting sober, so like how did that happen? Like, what were your first thoughts?
I was scared at first. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think that it was possible. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to do it. Was kind of at times panicky about what it was going to be like not drinking. But the good news is there's professional help, and you can get detox where it doesn't have to be painful or horrible. For me, it was not completely horrible. I had great assistance through medicine and doctors, and different modalities of how to come down and get off the alcohol, and it worked. So that doesn't have to be scary. You can do it with medical help, but it's a struggle to stay happy while you're doing it sometimes. But if you play along and you follow the suggestions and you do the next right thing, and a little before you know it, it's you're off to a better race.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, with the sober society, you have a group of people already. Like everybody's living a active and active sober life. So you get together, and how does it work when you get together? You get to hear so many other people's stories.
Yeah, and I listen, there's a ton of different ways to do this, that can be successful. I went the whole, did the detox treatment center 12-step thing, and did that for probably around 10 years before I started to actually question it, if it was the best way to go about long-term treatment. And I found out, that I will never talk bad about, 12-step, because different people need different ways of going about this. But it seemed as if I started to see that some groups were more about like the rules and the tradition than they were about the overall happiness of the group, if you will. So I kind of thought there needs to be something outside of this that offers a place for people to go to be happy, outside of the 12 steps, 12-step groups or religious groups with all the rules. I thought, let's have something where it's more of a peer-led support group, where we do active, fun things. I found that a lot of the times I'd go out to eat after some of these 12-step meetings, we would end up talking about people. We'd end up talking negatively about people. When I say we, not so much me, but to be around it and hear it, I kind of outgrew it. And I thought I'd rather be talking about ideas or about things that we want to do than sit around and talk about, people's horror stories and stuff. So we created a space, and where people can get together and come and bring bring ideas and be active and upbeat and happy. That's our goal. And it's a great Facebook group, and Sober Society 365 is the name of the group. But we really do work on our own happiness. That's what really we're after. Now our bodies are healthy, our minds are getting healthy, and we now want to live our best authentic lives, doing what we love to do, which is a lot of us is to help others,
Mhm. But like even like daily activities, they're more fun when you're sober because you can actually experience it. You're gonna maybe in some occasions you're just gonna remember it.
Yeah.
You get to actually be there 100%. You're gonna experience it. You're gonna remember it. You're gonna enjoy it because a lot of that drunkenness that goes away next day and it's all gone, and it's also traumatic on your brain. I was just listening another YouTube video, and they were like saying it is actually a trauma in your brain. So every time a person gets drunk, their brain gets traumatized, goes through a traumatic effect, and then it has to recover. And then if the person gets um, drunk again, it's another one again, another trauma.
So true. It's marketed to us as a sexy thing that's going to help you have more fun and things like that.
Hmm.
It just wasn't for me.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing as well. It's like it's a wrong programming where they brainwash you to think that's good for you, while they selling you something that's actually bad for you, but they sell it's good for you. You know,
Yeah.
brainwashing. It's
Yeah.
actually they selling to you like, here, take this poison, you're gonna be happy. But they're literally they selling you poison. You poison your body. You're gonna be maybe happy for like that time when that poison inside your body, but after that, you feel worse, and the long term consequences are even more worse. Which you could have done all those activities by being sober and have a better experience.
Amen. That's kind of what attracted me to. I had examples of people who got off the alcohol, and I would see them and I'd watch them, and they started to kind of like have they had a glow about them, a happiness, and that's part of what actually it got me attracted to the idea of giving it up. So I had good examples of people ahead of me that did that, and now I'm obligated to do that, to show that there's a shinier, better way to live.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
That's
So how do you find happiness when you think about it?
I just I'm one of the people who are like, now you're asking back from me. I'm one of those people who are actually born happy.
Nice.
Hmm. So for me, it was different. So for me, I was like always feeling happy and everything. And so I didn't understand why other people didn't feel that way. So I was started investigating. So why don't other people feel like that? And how can I help them feel that? Like having like the naturally inside, because like I'm all like trying to find that positive point of view all the time. Like even if I go through a really hard situation, I'm trying to like, okay, I don't like what's happening now. So what do I have to do to turn this situation around to make something positive coming out of it? Or
Yeah.
even if like sad moment, then if it's a sad moment, then I was like, okay, I had to sit through this sadness, deal with this emotion, and when I'm done dealing with whatever it is that makes me sad and all this, then I can go back and get back and doing the happy things again.
That's
Like,
right.
yeah.
Nice. Very good.
But that was one of my things. I wanted other people to feel the same way as well, and it is like controlling your thoughts, because we have all those automatic thoughts in our head, and when we have the automatic thoughts in our heads, they just might take over if they're negative thoughts or if they're fearful thoughts, and you just have to replace them with the positive thoughts instead.
So true. So
So
true.
So going back to the happiness again from your point of view. So like you said, like how do I have happiness? How do you express your happiness? How do you like daily basis or like in a big ways? How do you express it?
I think I express it through how I interact with people. And it's actually a really good gauge, because a good gauge for me that's really honest is how I receive people is a good indication as to how, or as a good gauge as to where my happiness is. So when I'm happy, people can only make me or help me become happier. When I'm unhappy, I can often find the bad in the day or in the world. So it's a good gauge for me if I'm finding that, I'm getting along with everybody, everything is kind of in a flow state. I'm in a good spot. I'm happy. And if I'm not, I'll notice that I can get annoyed at the supermarket and stuff like that. And it's just a really good gauge for me is to look at how I interact with other people. But I express it through that. I express it through how I move through the world, how I interact with people, and it's a clear indication as to where I'm at.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's go through I always try to ask the guests also about the three things and three different things of happiness. So, first of all, what are the three items or things that make you happy in
That's
life?
good. So right away, the first one that comes to mind are my relationships, my fiance, my kids, my loved ones, my friends, my chosen family. Would be huge, right? Would be my relationships. And I think another one is going to be if I am living in like love and connection.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. So I have community around me, and that's another thing. Like we have these these acronyms that we use. Like our HALT: hungry, angry, lonely, tired. If I'm not happy, maybe I'm hungry, maybe I'm angry, maybe I'm lonely, maybe I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like our check-in points that we teach a lot of guys. It's kind of a tool, but the idea that if I have certain things in place, then I can kind of default to happiness. That's kind of the idea. But my relationships, my love and connection, and then the service that I do, I think would be the third. Giving back and helping others with what's been given to me. Would probably be my next example. And
Yeah.
we find that with a lot of people that, they get sober, but then they're unhappy. And maybe that's because they don't feel significant. They don't feel like they have a reason or a purpose.
Yeah, I wanted you to talk more about that. Like, how do they find significance and reasons after like sober? Because you've been working with those people.
Yeah,
It's not just from your own experience. You've seen other people doing the same thing. They're built like that, like having the meaning after, like because then when you become sober, then you have to actually live the life and have the full experience of life. And like you said, if you don't do it, then you're gonna stay in that mindset where like you're just missing the drinking days, but you're not moving forward with your life, which is like
exactly.
building a new life. And that's actually not only like now when I'm saying that, it's not only sobriety, it's another problems in life as well. After you go through something like abusive relationship or some trauma or like somebody died, like you stay there, you don't move forward, but you have to move through that situation, deal with the problem. But then it's the most important part is what you're going to do after.
So,
So
so
what is what you've seen your clients have seen, what are you seeing them doing after to rebuild life?
yeah, and sometimes we have to create that thing. You get rid of the alcohol, and use that example. You could have many different vices, but oftentimes you also get rid of a bunch of friends when you do that, or activities. A lot of the things that I liked to do at the time were surrounded around alcohol, and so I had to change my people, places, and things. And back to what we were saying, how to do that is finding significance. What do you want to, what do you want to wake up to every morning? What do you want to get excited about? What thing is so important to you that all, sleep doesn't matter? What finding what that is. So many people are miserable in their marriage, miserable in their job or their career, and they're doing it because they have to afford the house and the lifestyle, but they don't want to be doing what they're doing. They're not maybe in the right relationship, and they're just kind of like just putting up with it. They're just surviving. They're not thriving. And that's the things that have to change, because if they don't, you'll be right back to, pour me another drink. So, the finding the certainty is really important. Who are you? What do you like to do? Why do you have to get up every morning? That kind of thing. And then next is having some kind of certainty, like having a project, something that can work towards. For me, the happiness came when I was running towards what I want instead of running away from what I didn't want. I focused on, like, I was being chased by these things, by the alcohol, and I was running from it. And if you've ever raced and you look backwards, like, that's not a good move. You're going slower when you're doing that. So it's more important to chase what you want versus running away from what you don't want. That brings me a lot of happiness, is to focus on the goal that I want instead of focusing what I don't want. And then that loving community, having that community of people around you. You're part of a community through your groups, and you know what that looks like and how important that is. But having a group of people that'll hold you accountable, that'll help you laugh, will help you not take yourself so seriously, and help you see things from maybe a different perspective, has brought me so much happiness. And then along with that is having a growth mindset, realizing you're growing, you're only getting better, and actually enjoying the growth, the learning of the new language or a new sport or activity or whatever it might be, is so important to us. And I think lastly would be the thing of, giving back, the contribution of, so many times early on when I was growing up in sobriety, and my mentors would say, like, get outside of yourself, give back and do for others. And it worked every time. Every single time I was in my own head and upset, if I got outside of myself to help others, I felt better every single time. So I started to believe these different modalities of ways to happiness, and it actually works. So today I continue to take the suggestions, and I continue to help others find the suggestions and use the suggestions. But it's a much better way to live is in happiness and love versus fear and lack, for sure.
And like, can you imagine if you would have been raised with those thoughts right from beginning? So we would have known all those informations since, like, we were younger, and I like, oh, those are the things we should be doing.
Yes.
Getting the significance right there, like in the high school or right after high school, all that things.
I was lucky. I had family who actually encouraged me to listen to things like Tony Robbins and stuff at a young age. But a lot of people don't have that exposure.
No.
It's so important that, because their happiness, I don't think is, you kind of wake up happy, you had mentioned, which is awesome. But sometimes some of us have to chase it, have to do things to feel it, to understand it, to change our mindsets.
And because mindset is also like the programmed thoughts that you're raised with, certain thoughts is programmed in your mind. And if you grow up in a family when somebody always telling you negative things, you're programmed your brain just are stuck on thinking all those negative thoughts. They might not be even your own thoughts, but you keep on thinking them because they're programmed in your brain. And that's the thing. That's what you have to relearn, and it's not easy.
I don't know if you ever experienced this, but I can remember early on, probably early to mid-teens, being around people that could steer a negative thing positive every time. And I didn't feel comfortable around some of those people because I wasn't familiar with that. It took time for me to be comfortable around people who saw the world as only good, or so on. So it's interesting, because if you're not given the idea, or it's not prevalent in your household, it can be unfamiliar, I think, at times to be around people who only see the good, you know?
Yeah, and that's actually now when you're mentioning that, that made me think about like we had it reversed then. Like I was the one who was like thinking that how can people have those negative thoughts? And you were thinking how can people have those positive thoughts?
Early on, yes, because
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's just like I guess it is coming like from somewhere, maybe from a childhood or somewhere where it starts when you like thought processes are building.
yeah, and even Sabrina and I will I can default to, can you believe how expensive gas prices are? And I can go that way. And then she'll catch me and say, it's not a big deal. We just need to make more money. Like, you know, and I love the way she sees things or takes control back from certain things. But I grew up hearing about gas prices. So it's
Hmm.
just like the comfortable thing to say, but it doesn't necessarily bring us happiness. So I have to really watch my idle thoughts because some of them can come from conditioning that isn't always the best.
Hmm. And like the way I see as well, like with the poorer nations, like the countries who will like have like people with like a lot of poverty and everything, the reason why they kind of seem to be feeling happier because they don't have this vision of looking that somebody else has so much more. So the people around them, they just see what people have around them, and the people around them have the same things. So they can't imagine in their head something that, oh, I don't have this fancy car because they never seen a fancy car. So that doesn't bother them not having it.
You're so true. And when I lived in Peru, I saw the happiest people I've ever seen.
That I've always heard that.
And they would sit down, we would have dinners, and they would last 3 and 4 hours where you'd sit in your chair
Hmm.
talking.
Yeah.
And the food was gone hours ago, and we'd still just be sitting around chatting. And I can agree with, there's something there to be said.
Hmm. There's more like that kind of human connection with that because in my country, Estonia, where I'm from, we have this. We can have the same thing. We talk for hours, like
Hmm.
with like just I don't. We just start from one topic and we go to another. We talk about okay, like you in Peru, you were just going through like maybe something that happened, maybe something that happens in the world, like some point of view, some book that somebody read, but it's just like this genuine connection. While a lot of people in different cultures, again, they don't have it. They just go to events just to go there for like appearances or something, but they actually don't. They are not really there. They're not enjoying this moment. You know, they just doing it kind of because they have to be doing, but they're not like they're not in the now and they're not enjoying that moment. They're already thinking about like so many other things or past or future instead of being in that moment, enjoying that what they're doing.
So well said. Yes.
Hmm.
So many of the addicts and alcoholics that we work with and around, I observe them not having the ability to have good connection. So they'll go to, like you mentioned, they'll go out to a party or get together and they'll feel all alone all night.
Hmm.
And they'll be surrounded with people all night, but they'll feel alone. Um, and that is a huge problem. People have a hard time feeling happiness when they can't feel connection. Is what we observe anyway. And I think that it's just there's a huge lack with some people. They just can't feel that, and so they never really get the full zest out of life until they can figure that part out.
Hmm. And there should be like more like kind of like sober groups where people can actually, like you have the sober society, where the sober people can like actually come together and talk about the thing, like not things, but just like talk about like everyday life and everyday things, what they're doing and do the things. But if like every community would have some kind of like sober group of people where like hanging out, like I never been in one of those sober bars.
I haven't been in one yet. I know they're popping up all throughout the country.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But that kind of like will be like something that I would try because I would be absolutely able to go like, but that's what I was saying. I don't know about them from the recovery point of view, because how it would be for the person not to try to have like feel like they need a drink in that situation. But I would be completely fine having a nice like night out with like band and a music and activities and talking without no drink at all.
Yeah, I think that it's a great thing. I don't think it's, from what I've heard and seen, I don't think it's very triggering to have a space like that. So I think it's a wonderful thing. Listen, I just did karaoke for the first time sober. I was well over 10 years sober before I did that, before I did karaoke sober. I never thought I'd be able to, but I absolutely can and enjoy it. So it's kind of cool to be able to find your crazy self even in sobriety.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm saying, you're just doing all those same activities, but you're doing them sober, so you can
Yes.
actually that have the real experience of it.
Yes, absolutely. I've been to 11 different countries, and 9 of them I was drinking in, and I wish I could go back in time and experience those places with the alcohol, because I wasted so much time being hungover, blacked out, recovering. It would have been a much better time, a much better vacation had I done it sober.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think
So
I
what?
would go back in time and do that differently.
But that's the thing. What they have to learn now with getting sober, because now they have to plan how to do that in the future. So like,
Yes,
instead of
exactly.
thinking like, how can I go back and change this? Like you have to think like, how can I do that in the future, or what something similar that I can do in the future now, instead of like thinking about like what should have I done different in the past.
Good point. We'll create new memories, new sober
Hmm.
memories.
Exactly, and then when you have more sober fun memories, then you just like connect. That's how you connect the sober and happiness together, because you're just gonna have so many sober, happy memories.
Amen. That's true.
Yeah,
That's so true. So true.
so that's cool.
True.
So, what are the three activities that make you feel happy?
So we do a lot of cool stuff. So we do handball, and I love that because I love the energy and just the camaraderie of the group. Where we hit a ball against the wall, and then the next guy hits the ball against the wall. It's actually really popular, like in New York City and stuff, and some different areas of the country. But we love that. We every Wednesday we get together and we do our sober lounge get together call, but we do group rides, sober surfing. There's just a ton of different activities that we do, because along with happiness, our topic, for people to get sober, it's a really good thing if they can find a new version of themselves, if they can create a new version of themselves. And when we do that, a lot of it is finding new activities, new hobbies that are physical, so you can
Hmm.
change your physiology and get those good chemicals going through your body and your brain. Um, so we'll do things like bike, get together as a group and go to movies. We have a group of us that do triathlons and things like that. But all these things are things that give us things to look forward to.
Hmm.
Every week there's things that I look forward to doing, people I look forward to seeing. And that's so important when you're working a program in sobriety, is to have things to look forward to. It just makes us happy.
Hmm.
I don't know if
Like
you're.
you said, hobbies. Like a lot of people, they just drink like as well, because after work they don't have any hobbies or anything. So that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna go to the bar and get drunk, instead of going and doing something like what they have hobby or the meaning, or like you even said, charity, something like that they can go and do instead.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
important.
what you're helping them to find that, and that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Agreed. And I
Hmm.
oftentimes I drink to be able to sleep at night. And if I'm not active during the day, I find that I can have a tougher time falling asleep sometimes. So it's just a full circle how that affects me
Hmm, that's
and my
different.
happiness.
And so how about this one? Three people that make you happy. Three people.
Well, you know the first one, right?
Yes. Yes,
So
Sabrina.
Sabrina will take the first one. And then I'll couple my kids in as the second one because they make me so happy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then my third would probably be the people that I work with that I mentor, from clients to sponsees.
Yeah.
All three of those they just make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Um, and that's the motivation to do better. Are those three groups of people as well.
Mm-hmm. Because that's important. That's I was just thinking that made me think about like it's important for sobriety as well to find those people. A lot of time, like you said, now when you said it, it actually makes me think like people lose some of their friends when they stop drinking, but also when people start drinking, they losing a lot of friends.
Yeah, and my experience was you also start losing friends when you start leveling up. When you start waking up early, when you stop staying out late, when you stop spending that money needlessly, like people start to drop off because you don't validate their way of living anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it can feel like you're maybe not doing the right thing because all of a sudden you're sober, you're healthy, but there's like two people that are hanging around you. You've lost all your friends. So, but that changes, because as you grow and others don't, you might grow apart, but that's okay. You'll grow into others. You'll grow into other
Other people will
relationships.
come around in your life. There's
Yes,
going to be just different people are in your life, and but usually they are more positive and more like active, or it's like they're more. You're gonna get more of those people who are more like you in that moment. Then.
agreed. Yeah, I'm gonna start attracting what I'm doing, and um, they don't always go together with the old group of friends that we used to be with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're probably going to be able to change some of the old people, old group people. Have that happened to you? Have anybody like who were like your old friends after you became sober? Did any of your old friends follow the lead?
They did, and it's kind of cool because sometimes you get to find out about it. People have told me, I wanted what you had, or you had
Mm,
this glow, and I want it. And I said that earlier, I've been where I've watched others, and I'm like, I kind of want what they have. What are they doing? Um, but yeah, it does spread, and I know I was told attraction versus promotion. So you do the right thing, and your people are going to be attracted to that lifestyle versus you walking around and telling everybody they need to get sober. That's not the preferred methodology. It really should just be do you. People will see it and they'll be attracted to it.
mm-hmm. You said I liked how you said like they wanted what you had.
Yes, exactly. And you
Yes, that's
can't always put your finger on it. You're like, I don't know what's going on there with this guy, but he's like happier. He's excited. He's motivated. His hair's clean. He's shaving. Like even the physical appearance changes
yes. Mm-hmm.
when people get sober. A lot of times when they
You
do it
can
right.
see the glow.
Yes.
You can see different glow on there.
Yep. Yeah. You're not drying out your tissues anymore. You're not losing sleep. There's so many good things that come from it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I think in about 40 years, you're going to find that, smoking is finally, it's not cool anymore. People are kind of disgusted by it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like alcohol will be there one day.
Yeah, that's true. Because it is right now. It is still like just like we said, it's a brainwashing of like put this poison in your body and pay us money and feel bad. You're gonna feel good for a little bit, but afterwards you're gonna feel bad or even worse. So you're gonna need it again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a trap. It's a tricky one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch TV, you're going to see a beer or alcohol commercial about 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, 1 out of 8 people. If you look around at the supermarket and you see 8 different people, 1 out of 8 average is drinking against their will, is having to drink every night, even though they really would rather not.
Yeah, they will not. They don't want to.
So it's unfortunate, and it's a lot more common than you think. And I did a hell of a good job not showing it when I was struggling. Some people saw, some people didn't, but it is possible that we have in and among us functioning alcoholics, people who are drinking when they don't
A
want to see.
lot.
We don't see it because they go to work, they pay their bills, they have the fancy
Mhm.
car, they go to church, whatever. But it's something that's quite common, and you may
Yeah,
not.
it's really, really common.
Yeah,
Even like, but you see the way why they have it in restaurants and everything, because that's what makes money. Like, that's why they're forcing you to drink, 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 because they make money. Because if you take your drinks off of your check in a restaurant, you're gonna see what your actual cost would be.
yes. And when you're wasted or buzzed or drunk, whatever words you want to use, you tip a lot more and you buy a lot more and you eat a lot more. So
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely a business thing.
Mm-hmm. And
Hmm.
actually, like, it's not good for your digestion system to have the drink with your meal, right?
Yeah,
The
there's no
food and
wins.
alcohol don't go together at all.
Yeah, there's no wins. There's no wins in it.
Mm-hmm. That's
Absolutely.
true. There was actually, when you were saying like the movies and everything like this, there I just watched a few nights ago. It's a different movie, but I liked what there was a point. There was, it's called, I think you play Your Place or Mine. But what happened there, I didn't notice right away, but like the one of the main characters was recovered alcoholic, and he was drinking like sparkling water. And usually you don't see that in movies. Usually in the movies they promote drinking and everything. And first time I noticed in that movie where he went outside to talk with somebody on outside of his house, and he handed another person a beer, but he was holding a sparkling water bottle. Because I was like, oh, there they go, like drinking outside again, connecting with drinking. But then I was like, he's not drinking. It was something different. It catch my attention because he was not drinking. He had a bottle of sparkling water, and then later on in a few scenes, he had like six sparkling water bottles on his desk. And then he went, like, there was like situation on that, like, hard situation in the movie, and he goes to the bar, and the bartender is asking like, what do you want? And he said like, um, I would like whatever the drink was. But then he said like, but I don't drink, so I'm going to just have sparkling water. I thought it was so cool.
That's cool.
Like you were
Yeah,
saying, like in the years and years coming, they're going to change it. And actually, to see it in a movie that they're actually promoting sobriety, that was something so refreshing and new. I was like I'm still amazed. I watched it like I think 2 days ago, and I'm still like thinking about it.
that's cool.
You know,
Here's what I drank while we've been on the call together.
what's this one?
There's
Oh yeah,
sparkling
sparkling
waters.
water. There we go. There we see. Yeah.
Yeah, I drink a ton of water even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's just, there's so many other things to drink, you know, and they're like have cool flavors and everything. There
There
was
are.
another thing as well before we go back to happiness question. There was oh, another thing I was like as well, but I wanted to, like, if people who are like right now what like gonna watch the replay or anything, um how to address the situation when somebody is asking like why you're not drinking. And I was like, I watched that, I saw as well somebody was saying that they were amazed by somebody else just saying like I don't drink with no explanation. It's like, just that's all, I don't drink. And
Yeah,
they didn't like, because usually people try to like, oh, I don't want any like for anything right now or something. I even for me, I was like, sometimes I feel like pressured in a restaurant, and I feel pressured saying like, oh, I'm just gonna decide later or whatever, like the pressure is, instead of just saying like I don't drink. And I started doing it now. I just say I don't drink. But
yeah. I struggled with that early on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why that was in my head. People don't care. And if they do care, then they're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the only time I cared when I was drinking, when other people didn't drink, was I thought they were gonna bring down the vibe. We weren't gonna have as much fun because they weren't drinking. But I have not had that issue. People don't really give a darn. And when I say, I don't drink, they'll say, "Oh, really? Why?" And I'll say, "Because, you know, one's not enough and two is too many." Or I'm allergic, or when I drink, I break out in handcuffs, or whatever you want to say. But my observation has been people don't honestly care. I have friends who say, I don't drink, and they say why, and they say because I'm healthy. I do triathlons, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
a biker. I cycle or I run. And if that's not a good enough explanation, then that person has something they need to work on. So I think that the idea that people are going to give you a hard time is a thing of the past.
Mm-hmm.
I think that generation is dying or dead. Um,
Yep.
and I think these new birds, like, they don't care. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
cool, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
this younger generation. I'm noticing they're smarter. Like, they don't want to waste their time. I'm generalizing, but the ones that I see, they're not drinking because they don't want to put bad stuff in their body.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
healthier.
around, yeah, they're different. They're going to the gym now, and I just think that I think that you don't need to be worried about being questioned.
Yeah.
A great explanation that Sabrina uses when people say, "Well, why is that?" Or because they're curious. They're not giving her a hard time, but they say, "Oh, what,
Mm.
you're not going to drink? Why is that?" And she'll just say, "Because I do what I want." That's her answer is, like, because I
Mm-hmm.
do what I want whenever she's questioned, and I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And I like actually like this question should be actually completely opposite. It should be like not that like why you're not drinking, but why are you drinking?
Right,
You
right.
know? It's like I was thinking like another way as well to respond like it's not about like why I'm not drinking, it's about like why are you drinking?
Yeah, yeah.
So
But you answer first, right?
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what are your happiest memories?
My my happiest memories are when I've won. I worked hard towards something and I got it, I think. Um so and in times of struggle, believe it or not, are my happiest moments when I've struggled and gotten out the other end. Um I would have to say. So yeah, a lot of my happiest moments would be moments in sports where I've, like, trained and won. When I first got sober, I became a boxer. I'd never been in a fight in my life.
Oh
And became
wow, I thought that was before. I thought there was something that
no, I
you
no,
done
I,
before.
I
So that
got
was
sober.
after you got
Then I got
sober.
boxing. Yeah, because I was told I had to find something to take all that time up,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm glad that I did. But probably winning the Georgia games, the golden medal at the Georgia games, is probably one of my happiest moments. Obviously, the birth of my children were huge in happiest moments. But I think that I think the wins that you get when you work hard for something, when the things that you do in private get celebrated in public, those are my happy moments.
Oh, that's cool
Yeah.
as well. Uh, I like to ask this question as well because I'm interested in that topic. How do you, in your perception, how is money and happiness connected?
Oh, they're definitely. I know that we're taught to say that they're not connected, but for me, they're connected. Um, because when I have financial insecurity, it's hard to be happy because you're so focused on your financial insecurities. Am I going to have enough? Um, so when I have, funds and options, and financial insecurity is not an issue, then I'm living in abundance and happiness and love. The opposite of
Mhm.
that is living in fear and lack, and I don't want to do that. And when you don't have enough money, you can oftentimes live a different way than if you do. Um, so I think that happiness comes from when you have, a certain amount of certainty and you feel like you can provide for others and you have what you need, that's the whole. I mean, that's the human laws of nature. We need certain things, and I think money can be directly related to your happiness. We've heard people say that if you woke up tomorrow a multi-billionaire, do you think those problems that you're talking about would be alleviated? And the answer is usually yes. Like,
Yeah, most of them will.
so I think that I think I think the lack of talk around money too is detrimental towards happiness. My last relationship, we didn't talk about money because it would make people uncomfortable or whatever. And now I can have total conversations around money. It doesn't have to be stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's directly related to my happiness.
So, but that leads to the question, like, why do you think that our society like talks so much about happiness, and like why they are saying like everybody wants to be happy, or like why do people want to be happy?
I think we have lots of examples on social media, on TV, in movies, where we see people happy, so we think, and we want that for ourselves. And I even can fall victim to thinking that you can buy happiness instead of experience it. And I've been with people who try to buy happiness. It's gross. It's like sterile. It's not. There's no real meat and potatoes with it. So yeah, there should be more talk about how to be countercultural, how to really chase happiness versus chasing what you're told is happiness,
Mm-hmm.
because it's different for everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yes. But I love
First,
that you're getting into the nitty gritty, getting really granular with what happiness is, because there's a whole lot of people that need more of it.
mm-hmm. And like, but you're teaching people how to find it. You kind of are you are kind of teaching people how to find it by getting sober.
We're trying to. And the other thing I'll bring up Sabrina's name again, because being funny and having a sense of humor wasn't highly valued in the houses that I came from growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But today, having a sense of humor and being able to bring humor into anything and everything has been so valuable and has been so important. I was in my last relationship for a long time, like 20 years, and comparing and contrasting to the world I'm in today, like there was no comedy, there was no humor in comparison to how much is in my life today,
Mm-hmm.
because of the people around me. And it's so huge. If you can be around people who try to find laughter and happiness, it's such a big difference versus, the people who try to just be right and don't try to have fun, or find that on a daily basis. So I think anytime you can bring humor in, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think humor is like I think that you could be saying like that's the main part of the happiness, the humor and having fun. Because even if you would have like all those um, balance with all the things, and like you have all the things that you need and want and everything, security and all this, but then the having fun and not taking things so seriously, that's what you have this elevated feeling of doing something, and the emotion that like it is kind of like the happiness,
Yes.
the fun part of it.
And I think you said, thinking about your happiest moments. My happiest moments are when we're driving along the ocean with the windows down, the radio playing, singing along without worrying about what people think. Like that's happiness.
Exactly, that
Yeah.
moment there, that
Yeah.
was a happy
If
moment.
we can fit in like 10 minutes of that kind of happiness every day, it'll help us.
Hmm. And that's so easy to create. Well, it seems like you say, like we say, that's so easy to create, but in some situation, for those people who are still struggling, it's not. But that's what they have to learn, you know.
Yes. And the company that you keep, or that I keep, the company that I keep can like I can be on an A1A on the ocean windows down, best song. And the person sitting next to me, if they're not having it and they can't be in that moment, it affects what you can have around you. So it's really important to see the company that you keep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So for sober people to like have more sober people, or but sober happy people again. Not the, doesn't have to be happy, but like still a positive. And we can use the word happy. You know, we get that more out there. Say sober happy people. You know.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely
Yeah.
agree. Because you can be sober and not happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly.
Very
So
true.
more sober happy people around, or if you don't have them around, you can be that sober happy person and make other sober people happy about being sober.
That's right. Yeah. Amen. Amen.
That just came out great. So well, that hour like running by so fast. It felt like 5 minute talk right
I
now.
know. I know.
It's already been an hour.
And
So
for
because
anybody
you're gonna
watching
have one
this,
of your meetings tonight as well.
yeah, I was just gonna say, for anybody watching this, every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we have the Sober Lounge Peer Led Support Group, which is found in our Facebook group. Human Better 365 is the company that owns it, but Sober
I have
Society.
all those links in the bottom as well. But tell all the links and all the information how they can find you.
Yeah, so our website is www.sobersociety.solutions. The number is 1-800-410-6825. And Sober Society is a division of Human Better 365. Our Facebook group is called Sober Society 365. If you want to join our Facebook group. But we are a great group of people who are living our best lives and sharing what's worked for us, and all the while trying to be the happiest we can be as well. And it's a great topic, because I think oftentimes we can leave our happiness for last once we've checked all the other boxes. So if we can be happy with all that we do, we can be much more. It's gonna be a much better life, and we get a lot more fun to be around. So I think a lot of us just kind of find a way of living in life where we're just kind of like plugging through, just kind of surviving instead of thriving. And that's the goal for us, is to have all of our guys thriving.
Yeah, that's a great goal for sobriety and all the things. I'm amazed how the hour went by so fast. So, like, before you're gonna I'm gonna ask you to tell your final task, but like, I want to say one thing that I really liked about what you pointed out. One metaphor is like not running away from what you don't want, but running towards what you want. I
Yeah,
like how you talk that. It's like I was like, oh, I never heard that one before like this. Like actually have that something, some vision in front of you, and then that's what you're running towards.
exactly.
Like you want to get there.
Exactly. Just
I like that.
if you're cycling, you don't want to look at what you don't want to hit, because you're likely going to hit it. You want to look at what you do want to hit, and then you avoid what you don't want to hit. Does that make sense? Like you want to, it's better to focus on what you want versus on what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And probably like with the when you was mentioning cycling, it's not that made me think like actually realize right now, and that's good with sobriety as well. Not to try to okay, you're trying to get to the finish point, but there's also checkup points, right?
Yeah.
So in life,
True.
instead of like just thinking of focusing only those that big goal, you also have those little checkup points like for getting sober, like you have days. You have like, oh, I've been sober so many days, or I get to do this, and I found a hobby or something like this little checkup points where you have the goal to get to that checkup point and then to the next checkup point and next checkup point. It might be easier than to just try to get to the finish.
So well said. Yeah. I'll never have this done. I'll always be working towards something, I'll never be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So well said.
Mm-hmm. So what are your final thoughts as well for to close up the hour?
Well, you know what? I'm going to go through the week kind of checking into myself and seeing where my happiness is each day. So much we can be so focused on, I can be so focused on my goals that I'm not really focused on my given mental health at any given time, or my happiness? Am I finding the happiness out of each situation? So I'll be thinking about you throughout the week and kind of keeping tabs on my own happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of it too. I know we're in closing here, but I've been up north in the northern states and so forth, and um, I geographically have happy places that I can live, and then places that don't make me happy. The Midwest with the gray skies and um, the lack of diversity and stuff, I'm not happy around that. I've realized palm trees, the sun, and smiling people make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
Grumpy faces, gray skies, and trees that don't look exciting don't make me happy. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's important to look at your environment and the company you keep as well. And just in closing, I think I'll offer that.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good.
And never feel alone. It's important to have community. But great topic. I think I want to thank you for providing the space to chat with this on, and keep up the good work, because I think more people need to figure out ways to be happy and how to enjoy happiness.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yes.
true. And same way, like I was like saying, like it seems like it's such a like common thing that people say happiness and happiness, but why not? What's the opposite? So what should we promote then if not happiness?
We're not here long. Let's enjoy it, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
all the other like things like we just go through that life, the situations we have to go through, but we want to get to like where we are happy. So happy, sober society. Maybe 50 years from now we're gonna have happy, sober society.
That would be great. We'd love it. We'd
Yeah,
love that.
that sounds good. That's a good thing to end on our show as well for this time.
It
So
is. Thank you
thank
for
you.
having me on, and thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thank you, Dane. Thank you for being here.
You
So everybody who have watched or watched during the replay now, hit the subscribe button, hit like, and share this video with your friends. Yeah, it's like Superman poses. So that's one of the other guests. Well, like she was teaching me, saying like, do the Superman pose
right.
for like the feeling, like how to feel good in a moment.
That's right. Change your positioning.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dane.
Have
And
a
thank you,
wonderful
everybody, for watching. Have a great day, or evening, or night, whichever you're having. And watch the next episode. There's a link probably somewhere below with the next episode, a different episode. So watch that one. Bye.